Phantom and Crimson Solitaire, or Phantom and the Crimson Solitaire, because I don't like the sound of it without the and it is a pretty interesting series of events that takes place during the story. Not because it's told to us in a groundbreakingly good way or anything, but because of the roguelike nature of integrated strategies, it is told to us in a very different way than usual. And as an integrated strategies enjoyer myself, I have to say I prefer the newer stuff. But that shall not stop this delve into the background of Phantom and what this Crimson Solitaire has in store for him. Dropping any pretense, it's because of his alto being out right now that I am bothering to make this. Straight up, there will not be a better time to talk about it than right now. So strap in, kids, because there is quite a bit of background to this event. Luckily for all of us, it's centered around one group, the Crimson Troop, and one character, Lucien, aka Phantom. The Crimson Troop is a secret organization of assassins and performers that travel Terra at the mysterious whims of the Troop Master Tregodia. So these band kids want to do more than just put on a show. Also a very peculiar name that Troop Master has. It will certainly not be relevant to a Rhodes Island operator. Originally just attentive actors, the troupe rose to prominence by following the Troop Master's vision of a perfect performance. From Victoria to Columbia, from Syracuse to Sorgon, the troupe has performed all over Terra, all to achieve their primary goal of producing the best tragedy in history. All this for the pleasure of their master. The troupe members for the most part remain anonymous to the public. In fact, the Crimson Troop has never been recorded in any news reports, but of course, rumors of their existence still circulate Terra. On the surface, the Crimson Troop operates like any other theater troupe, performing both original and classical stage plays, like the nerds they are. As they travel around Terra, they recruit highly skilled performers. Be they already skilled performers or children in need of guidance, all are molded to conform to the master's whims. Of course, under the surface, the troupe is a far darker group. From assassinations to indoctrination, the troupe has a hidden goal and they will go to any lengths to achieve it. After all, what masterpiece could be faked? As such, their actors would kill their victims as part of their stage plays. A very effective cover, as they always credit their top-class theatrics for their blood and slaughter. It goes without saying that once you enter the troupe, the only way out is in a body bag, or as a dead prop on stage, as the case will probably be. Be it mysterious performers or a stage play with no credited writer, their touch has been felt across all of Terra's theaters. In addition to their wonderful contribution to the arts, the troupe also performs a public service by taking in children in need of help. By that I mean they acquire children through several different less than morally upright methods, primarily by extorting communities in need so that they hand over their children, as it is their only option to survive. At least they provide these people food and water or money, so they aren't just blackbagging kids all the time. Cause look at the Troop Master, ain't no way bro isn't on that type of timing, if you catch my drift. Also, they probably aren't just kidnapping kids to avoid the authorities looking too deeply into their activities. What an incredibly specific backstory that all is. Well, that's because it's Phantoms, or Luciens as he is known as now, cause that's his name and he hasn't joined Rhodes Island yet. The primary character of the Crimson Troop is Phantom. Sorry all Shalem fans. You'll get an alto eventually. Maybe. Regardless, within the Gaulish territories of Victoria, the troupe would come across the young Lucien and they would take him into their care following a catastrophe. Both he and Shalem would enter into the troupe's care around the same time, and the troupe would get straight to work on them. With his natural talent, Lucien quickly became the favorite up-and-coming talent of the Troop Master. The Troop Master began tutoring Lucien so that his blood diamond would mature into the crown jewel of the troupe. With the aid of other members of the troupe, Lucien would become the blood diamond of the Troop Master's dreams. Those Crimson Troop members would be the Shadow, who taught Lucien to use Originium Arts, the White Flower, who taught Lucien to dance, and the Blade Dancer, who taught Lucien how to stab people real good. While attempting to learn the meaning of negative emotions to deepen his performances, Lucien would infect himself, stabbing himself in the neck with an Originium shard. It was following this that Best Cat, Miss Christine, would find him, using her powers to relieve Lucien of his oropathy symptoms. Following his recovery, Oripathy allowed him to use his singing as Originium Arts, allowing him to kill those who hold his vice. As such, Lucien would use this newfound strength to strike down many of the Crimson Troop, including his mentors. Following his escape from the Crimson Troop, Lucien would wander Victoria for years before ending up in Rhodes Island. Being a model employee to the point Phantom would reveal much of his past to Rhodes Island, including his work as an assassin. However, the troop still had plans for him. They couldn't just give up on their blood diamond after all, so it's time for some shenanigans. Thanks to some brainwashing, it's time for an adventure into the Crimson Solitaire. In response to Phantom's sudden disappearance, the Doctor would have Shalem organize a team of Rhodes Island operators to retrieve Phantom from the Crimson Troop's clutches. From here we get into integrated strategies bullshit, so before we get into the story of Phantom's rescue, let me make a few things clear. Number 1, the canon question. There are 4 different endings in IS-2, and for the most part, it's just the first one that's the canon ending. The 4th ending kind of works too, but if you only want the true to act or die events, you just gotta put Phantom down like the dog he is. And the second thing to keep in mind is there are a lot of encounter nodes in IS-2. All of which are technically canon to a run through the Crimson Troop's castle. Regardless, I will not be mentioning them, just assume your favorite one happens if you must. Especially the vampire one. Stupid sexy Sorkas. And with that quick PSA concluded, let's get into the different endings. Battling through the illusions of the castle, Rhodes Island would find themselves up against Lucien the Blood Diamond. Despite his return to the troop allowing him to freely make use of his Originium Arts devoid of his moral compass, Rhodes Island would prevail against him. Following his defeat, the castle would go silent and Phantom returns to his normal self. With their victory achieved, Shalem escorts Phantom to the exit with Miss Christine. For now, he is free from this tragedy. And yes, it is that simple to explain the story of IS-2's main story and first ending. That's it. But what if things weren't so simple? What if after defeating Phantom, Rhodes Island discovered a portrait depicting a man's suicide? Rather interesting. Upon taking a closer look, they would see a crying doll looking back at them. From there, Rhodes Island would come across a teddy bear being attacked by living dolls. Choosing to protect the bear, Rhodes Island would acquire a seemingly useless scissors as a reward. Deeper into the castle, Rhodes Island would come across an Ursine man. The man would thank them before handing them a letter and throwing himself out of a window. All that remains of him is the suicide note he handed over right before liberating himself of his torment. Unfortunately, no troop member exits the stage that easily, and at the end of Rhodes Island's journey, they come across a giant teddy bear by the name of Big Sad Lock. Should you have acquired the suicide note, the boss fight is much easier, because this bear is the trapped soul of that very man whose suicide was captured in that painting. Thankfully, Rhodes Island puts the man to rest. Having put the Big Sad Lock out of its misery, Phantom and Shalem head for the exit once more. However, before they can reach freedom, the troop mouthpiece appears before them. Through the illusions of the castle, Rhodes Island learned of the madman Arentz, at least I hope that's how you pronounce his name, a former member of the Witch King's court. He would murder nobles within Latania before fleeing to the troop so that he may continue his sadistic ways. The mouthpiece refuses to allow the center of his performance to leave, and Phantom is more than willing to hunt him down. I like to think he called Miss Christine mid, and Phantom could not let that shit slide. Phantom would confront the mastermind behind this whole series of events and put an end to the mouthpiece's plans. Killing the mouthpiece really took it out of him though, so he allows himself to rest on the stage where he struck down the madman. Unfortunately, he begins hearing the voices of the dead troop members. Those members who he killed rise behind him, with the troop master lording over him. Shalem arrives to help Phantom, but it's already too late. The Blood Diamond is back, and begins to sing. Rather bleak ending that. Shalem probably dies in it, but considering it's not canon, he's still fine. But we do have one last trek through the castle before this video ends. And what do the noble members of Rhodes Island discover on this journey? A dungeon. Prisoners of the Crimson Troop. Rhodes Island manages to defeat the prisoners when they are attacked, and recover a ball and chain from them. From there, Rhodes Island stumbled upon a man hard at work writing scripts. I feel his pain. Trying to sneak a peek over his shoulder doesn't go well, and the man bursts into flames before lunatics attack Rhodes Island. They of course manage to survive and acquire the man's ink bottle following the encounter. After rescuing Phantom, the playwright appears before them again, complaining that Rhodes Island had interfered in his creation. After defeating him, Rhodes Island and Phantom escape the castle, and put the Crimson Troop behind them for now. The playwright complains about his grand drama being ruined by Rhodes Island's interference, and Phantom's desire not to be brainwashed by the Troop Master, but he accepts that he should have accounted for it in his script. So the playwright decides that a story where Shalem and Rhodes Island rescue Phantom only for a seed to be planted in Phantom's heart that will bloom when the ultimate tragedy occurs is a better way for his screenplay to end. The Troop Master approves of the script, and until this tragedy, the Troop will continue to watch Phantom from behind the scenes. And that, my friends, is IS-2, Phantom and Crimson Solitaire. My final message? Play IS-5. It's got a better story, and its RNG has not fucked me like how Playwright's Encounters have. Legit finished the entire thing, all medals and levels, and did not seize encounters a single time. I finished it for the first time when they updated the game mode recently. No, I am not malding in calling this integrated strategies mid cause of it either. My opinions, as you all know, are completely factual and non-biased. That aside, Phantom is pretty cool, and I hope you are looking forward to seeing me discuss some more in the Act or Die video. Consider this one a primer for it. Anyway, time to get back to the script writing. Thank you to the channel members. You are the child kidnappers to my Crimson Troop, keeping this channel going into the future with fresh sacrifices. Don't think too heavily on this one, I'm not gonna lie. Y'all be good people, and I will see you in the next one. No, but let's be for real. All those encounters in integrated strategies where an attractive woman just fucks you over, they're all peak. They're all fantastic. I love every single one of them.